Hello and welcome to Shiny Side Out. Come to you from Tokyo. Oh, very good. And also we have many sushi today for you. Also, very good. Oh, wrong tape. Hello and welcome to Shiny Side Out with
Dave
and Mackie. That's right. Coming from Australia, not Japan, the land down under. That's right. For Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. This is Listener Funded Radio, so please go ahead and donate if you can. Tell people about the station if you cannot. And if you see us out in the wild, like, subscribe. Subscribe is good. Comment, share, all those wonderful things. And thank you so much, for doing that. And welcome to all new subscribers. Awesome stuff that. Now, another good reason to donate is that the station has archives that are completely free. That's correct. Completely free of charge. And furthermore, you can catch us on pretty much any platform out there, any app, any device, including a Grace tabletop digital radio in the comfort of your own home. Now, before we start broadcasting at Anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we are broadcasting. And for Dave,
it remains the Darkinjar.
And for myself, of course, the direct people here in what is today somewhat muggy Pamela. Thank you so much. And we would like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. Thank you very much. Dave, I've noticed that recently the welcoming to country or just general acknowledgement, I guess, of the first custodians has sort of fallen out of favor in Australia. Not a lot of people are doing it anymore.
That's right.
Which is a shame in many ways because the truth is that we are in fact on land that has been occupied now for which might well be 50 or 60,000 years for all we know, maybe longer. In fact, the arrow of time is going back further and further. It could be 80,000 years, it could be 100,000 years for all we know. Seriously, it's really is quite something. We don't have any concept of this, being of a modern society, a continuous culture more or less for tens of thousands of years. That's pretty significant. But I guess things change, times change, and we'll just roll with it. But we'll keep doing it. So that's goodness, I think. And I think it's being stopped, I should say, because people just don't want to. I don't know. They just don't want to deal with it anymore. That's my opinion. I think people just had enough, had a gutful. They're taking a lead from. Believe it or not, they're taking a lead from the Trump administration, Dave. Because clearly the Trump administration is not interested in anything like that. And all woke and I guess equal opportunity as well as I guess divergent beliefs are sort of shut down in favor of an all white, pinky white world that Pete Hegseth is ushering in for the Pentagon. We only have white soldiers soon, you'll see, and everybody who's not white, they'll get bleached. So if you belong to a minority that has any color but pinky white, I think they're going to bleach you. That's my opinion, and I'll stick with it. How are you traveling, though?
Oh, I nearly didn't make the show because I had a bleeding nose. Until about 2 minutes ago. So that's okay. It is what it is. And I've got a bung knee. So, just quietly between you and me, I'm blaming you for slipping again. Whether you know it or not, I think it's funny.
It's not funny. It's not funny if you're Dave. It's not funny.
It's not funny, really. But I do have... I have a story up on the screen related to what you were talking about.
Okay,
They've had enough is the title on news.com.au, and it continues to say, Juru people vote to ban welcome to country. the story says a Queensland community has voted to ban welcome to country ceremonies on their ancestral land, with voters claiming they find the ceremony embarrassing. And this is all comes from that Jacinta Price conversation where in Parliament she said it's lessening our ownership by everyone claiming that they're being welcomed to the land, welcome to country. However, in very few cases, to be honest, says Jacinta Price, anyone has been welcomed. And so the welcome to country is actually, seems to be synonymous with the seeing, the visualization of the white sails on the horizon that came and impacted them. And it's just another, this is what she says, it's another version of that. We're just taking something that's theirs again, yet again. So look, whichever way you fall on this argument, doesn't matter to me which way you fall. I think use our best effort and common sense. It's very pleasing for us to say that we welcome ourselves to country and thank you very much for and respect the elders. And I like that it is a sincere, not apology, but it's a sincere admittance that we're here and they were here first, and I appreciate that. I really do, Mackie, and I'm sure you do too.
I don't think it's welcoming. See, this is interesting because I had never thought of it this way. I've never heard it. Clearly, but people think of it this way, and I never thought of this as a welcoming of the white people to country at all. But in fact, when they say welcoming to country, I didn't even know why they would say it that way. For me, maybe because of what it says, and when we say it, for me, it was always an acknowledgement of the traditional people that had lived here, rather than
that's right, yeah.
Well, yeah, rather than welcome white people, hurrah. For me, it never really had that connotation until just now. And now that I'm thinking about the words, I don't see it at all. I don't see how that could be.
I agree with you, but and I can't.
I see what people.
Yeah, look, I can get their position on it. That's not a problem. If people are now starting to stop doing it, do we keep doing it? Does everyone keep doing it? Is it just the few? I think it still needs to be tested. And I've noticed on the national broadcaster that all they say is, we're coming to you from Gadigal land. For us, for me, it would be, I'm coming to you from Darkinjung land. That's all I would say. And that's enough, apparently, under the new governance of the country that controls that the verbiage they use on air. So I think it's interesting. Should it be special events? Should it be congregations of people over a certain size? Should there be some kind of criteria or limitations on its use? I wonder. And Mickey's video has frozen. So I shall continue. That's what I'll do. Look, outside of the Welcome to Country debate that we've just covered, there was something as recent as 2 days ago, it was, where there was a climate change FOIA request by the media for a document that was being used to determine and plot in advance the workings of our national electricity grid, including power generation, distribution, and the make-up of that power production or generation with renewables and plotting. There. Yes, plotting, Becky. I know that you. Yeah, well, I've been here the whole time, but that's okay. Your video seemed to freeze to me. So that's all right. So I'm talking about right now, Mackie. I'm talking about
same. It's the same. Your video.
Yeah. So I'm talking about.
Yeah, but Dave, this is the. Did we talk over each other? That's my question, because I was here the whole time too, and my stream didn't break. So I'm curious to see what it looks like in the recording.
Yeah, me too. If I'm recording it at this end, then it'll be mine. But the station, it would be interesting to see what eventuates there. So there was a document used to table to Parliament, certainly from the current sitting government, about renewables, our trending 2030 targets, the price of electricity, the distribution, and the power generation, and what that makeup will look like. A FOIA request was done, and there was 30 pages of it that were redacted. 30 pages redacted. This was the paper there that they used to determine where we were going as a nation with power, and to plot out the future. How can... It's not national security is probably the best position I would take on it. This is power. So unless there was words in there that said something, I said if, let's rip the people off, let's charge them heaps, let's lie to the people and say the price is going to get cheaper, and they just keep climbing. Because the words out of their mouth during the election was, we're going to reduce power pricing. How are they doing that? Because it keeps going up. And it's going down. I don't know where it's going down, because it's not the consumer end. It might be in the production. Who knows? I don't know. No one knows. So it's very interesting that they should redact a document which was to be tabled in Parliament for that very discussion.
I'm going to say, okay, that's what happened, and we'll, agree with it or not, as the case may be. But look, there are a few things here which struck me as odd as we went through the week, and one of them was the 3i Atlas object. It's now, it's passing through the solar system, but there's something that happened this week. Oh yeah, this the last week, which has never happened before in a comet. Okay, it showed non-gravitational motion at perihelion with the sun. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, as it was very close to the sun. Okay, in fact, as it was closest to the sun, about 203 million kilometers, it exhibited, that's 3i Atlas, an acceleration, a sideways acceleration, a significant acceleration. In fact, so significant that if it were a comet, scientists are expecting to soon see a massive loss of mass of the object. Right? And this has never happened before. Not only that, there was a blue hue observed as it happened. Now, the odd thing here also is that normally when, dust is released or mass is lost, it makes the comets redder when they, do that, not bluer. Now, I've seen a few posts online that say, if you eject plasma, that would be blue in the blue spectrum. So is this some kind of artificial spacecraft? We don't know. But it did turn blue, and it was bluer than the sun in comparison, right? But again, we have never seen a non-gravitational motion. So a comet, most cosmic objects, are playthings of the gravitational forces of larger bodies. And the largest body, of course, in our solar system is the sun, right? So we can calculate how an object will move if we knew all of the parts of the solar system, all the planets, the sun, other heavenly bodies. We can pretty accurately calculate which path any object would take, based on its speed, angle of entry into the solar system, crossing the plane of the ecliptic, etc., etc., etc. We know which gravitational forces are tugging at it. There is no known gravitational source that would have caused the object's acceleration. None. When it reached, again, like I said, perihelion of 203 million kilometers on October 29th. Okay, it was the closest to the sun at the time, and the deviation. So just to put it in perspective, okay, the deviation of its course, like the amount it deviated from what we think it should be traveling, was about 10 times the Earth's radius. So it was significant. So imagine 10 Earths next to each other. That's the deviation we saw 3I Atlas make for no good reason. So two things could be at play here, maybe three. So first of all, it's a thing we have never observed because it just never happened before. It's a unique thing where maybe some gas or dust was released in a hitherto unseen phenomenon. That's, okay, could be. The gravitational source near the sun when it happened that caused 3I Atlas to move in the way it did. Or finally, which is probably the craziest, is that it did it under its own power. Now that's of course going, okay, why? Well, now again, this was at its closest approach to the sun. And it didn't move closer to the sun, it moved further away from the sun by the distance of 10 Earth radiuses, right? That's 6,000. So what's that? 36,000 kilometers or so, right? Because the radius, I think, is 6,000 kilometers. I don't know, maybe it's 12. No, sorry, radius is 12,000. No, yeah, 6,000. 6,000. Yeah, so 36,000, I think. Happy to be corrected. Nonetheless, 10 Earth radiuses, but it hasn't done it since. So it did it once. And maybe it was because it got too close to the sun. Because again, that perihelion. Yeah? And again, this is just the strangest thing. Now, most mainstream scientists are saying, it's just something we haven't seen before. It's nothing to worry about it. Blah, blah, blah. Now, we here at Plato's Cave and Shiny Side Out and Revolution Radio in general like to look at things that are not necessarily the mainstream explanation, right? And if it is intelligently controlled, maybe it did get too close to the sun. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know, Dave. Did you see that?
Yeah, I have. Ironically, all of this occurred outside of our view, and there is no information for or from our current satellites which have had pure vision to it the whole time. So we do have rear sun facing and, outside of 90 degrees from us. In the Lagrange points, we have the devices that can see it. Whilst it's out of our view, it's visible to them. Nothing. Not a peep. So the news story I have on the screen describes everything you've said, Meki, so it's all good. I'll leave the links below. It happened at perihelion, which is really interesting. A jet had come out the back, apparently, according to some photographs, which had turned off and then turned on and now is gone again. Just like if we were going to do a retro rocket or a boost back at perihelion to, exercise the gravitational slingshot effect. It's kind of the same. So I really think that this story, Meki, with all of the noise going on about 3I Atlas, I don't think this is the aliens coming. Because you would imagine that would have been tighter to the sun than to be able to orbit the sun and coming to us. If it was coming at such a vast speed, use the sun, slow it down, and that's how I would imagine it. But it's not. Because it's not time yet, Mickey. It's not 2027.
I don't care about 2027. I think, well, look, what I think is that we're not alone here, and haven't been alone for a long time, for millions of years, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kept completely in the dark as to what's really going on. It does remind me of this massive object that was caught near the sun, in a video, in fact, and it looked like, and this was a massive
cube.
Object, bigger than the Earth. No, I don't know. Can't remember if it was a cube, maybe, but it actually seemed to be extracting plasma from the sun to potentially power itself. So that's, you know, I mean, we've got footage. We've got footage of things that fly across the moon, of funny lights in the moon. We've got other really strange footage of the sun. We still don't know why the sun is hotter at the surface than at the core.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't really know much, to be honest with you.
That's really, we're rookies.
Yeah, look, we are. So is AI 3 Atlas, whatever the hell it's called? Is it an alien probe? I don't know. 3i Atlas, yeah. Is it? I don't know. Is it an object that is potentially has a crew? I don't know. It's just an odd thing. And again, I repeat what we said last time. It came from the same general vicinity of space as the WOW signal back in the day. And I won't go into detail. We have it in another show. But it's definitely what happened. I don't know. It's just very strange, right? And look, if anybody's making a prediction about 2027 or 2032 or 2055, and I don't really care what year you pick, then I'm always thinking of Oppenheimer and how he said, yeah, you can just get ready for the fake alien invasion. Get ready for having an alien invasion that is staged to bring greater control. Because this is the thing, right? If you look at the planet, just look at us, people, and how even now we can't get along at all. And I mean, we're teetering on the brink of disaster. More so now with Trump and other world leaders, like Putin and Xi Jinping, etc., and not really getting along all that well, and being engaged in wars. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But if we wanted to come together, if anybody wanted to try and bring the human race together, it would only be done through an external enemy.
That's
only
right.
Through an external. This is Dave. You know this. The only way we band together 100%. Would be. That's it.
I did have a segue. See, I had a segue from that. So this is from the Irish Star paper. And it says aliens will reveal themselves in 2027, claims ex-CIA agent. He did this live on video and says a whole bunch, but, really did he work for the CIA? Is this just disinformation? Is it part of Mockingbird? We don't know. Is it meant to excite people or instill fear? Who knows? I don't know. It could just be bolstering their fake alien invasion. So I take everything with a complete grain of salt, especially when it comes from the government. It's a grain of salt because you don't know whether they're intentionally lying to you to impose something different, or if they're trying to get you in, herd you in a certain direction. Was that a bark? Was it a growl? If you were being sheep herded by a cattle dog, who knows? But I've got the story on screen, and rather than talking to the story, which I don't want to do, because the link will be below. You can have a look yourself. Enjoy. The point... I'll put it back on middle screen. There we go. So the point I want to make here is, imagine yourself being approached in the history of humanity, and you're an isolated tribe. Who do you trust? Who can you trust? Should you trust the first people that make contact with you? Or the second group? Is the first group motivation, is that peace or war? Is it to obliterate you or take advantage of you? And I think the power of discussing it like I've just brought it up allows you to have a little think, possibly, about the dangers of believing the first group of aliens that should come here, even in peace. I'm not saying they're all going to be terrible. I'm not saying they're all going to be good. But there's already a story out that the first aliens that came to visit the White House, or at least the staff, were peacekeepers. And the second group they had been warned against making a contact with. And the second group were the Greys. You can't trust them, says the Nordics. This is in folklore. This is our folklore. It's our lore, UFO lore. And the government went, peace. What can we do with that? Because we are, just come out of World War II. So what do? You make an agreement with the Greys. And then the Greys get a little bit out of control. Suddenly we've got underground bases with aliens in them. And this is folklore. I'm not making this up. So, according to the Nordics, we made the wrong decision. I think it's very interesting. It's a great point. It's a great talking point. And whichever attends the Earth for a meeting, are they from here? Are they extraterrestrials or not? I really think that however it's portrayed, try to put a little bit of skepticism in it and really wait for the real message. Because maybe some of the contactees have been told what's really happening. Maybe they know. Maybe the government went outside of their initial warnings or scopes. There was what was that? The show, The Twilight Zone. They did a great episode on this, where aliens had visited the Earth, met with the government, and the next thing is they leave and say, we're going to come back. But they said, you're a warring people, blah, blah, blah. And then they went, we've got to get into peace. We've got to destroy all the weapons, because when they come back, it's going to be great. And when they came back, the Earth was completely peaceful, and they didn't like that. And they destroyed us, because we were peaceful. What they wanted was more competition out there. They wanted people to be out there fighting with them, side by side. And we became peace-loving. This is in the... Did you get the audio, Mackie?
No.
No, okay, so that was the Twilight Zone episode. Anyway, I'm going to go back to you in the studio, Mackie.
That's all good. Look, again, to speculate on motivations is fun, but we've done whole show cycles on this, so just go ahead and look at our commentary there on alien races, possible motivations, ancient cultures, how long people have been here, and I use people in the loose sense of the word, because any intelligent creature, self-aware creature, is can be people. It doesn't have to be Homo sapiens, though I do think that this seems to be the preferred form for this planet. Why? Don't know, but this seems how the cookie crumbles in this particular area of space. However, there are a couple of things which I found interesting. They're related. I was watching the German news, Deutsche Welle, and there was a report on Syria, then there was a report on Jamaica, and then there was a report on Gaza. And you know what the funny thing was, Dave?
What's that?
They all looked exactly the same. There were parts of Syria after the Syrian civil war, as you might know, that are as bombed out as Gaza is. Right? So these three reports, which were unrelated, it was completely separate reports, and when they compared it to what happened in Jamaica after the massive storm, the landscape was exactly the same in both three areas: Jamaica, Syria, and the Gaza Strip. It looked like bombs had gone off and devastation, destruction. There was no difference. So, whenever nature doesn't punish us and destroys our works, we're doing a pretty good job of it ourselves. And that was really in many ways eye-opening, right? Because it was such a destructive force. And related to that is, interestingly enough, Donald Trump has said two things. Actually, I want to say all the things he said because he said he was going to be the president of peace. No new wars. He doesn't want to deploy the American forces elsewhere, etc., etc. He said that. I mean, that was part of the platform he ran on. And okay, good. That's a great and wonderful thing to say. But what he has said since, he has said he wants to annex Canada as the 51st state. He wants to annex Greenland because it's geopolitically important. It's a very strategic location. And now it looks like he may be going to war with Venezuela, potentially Colombia. And he's also said that he might send his troops to Nigeria to intervene, because there have been reports of forces specifically targeting Christians to kill them. This is funny as well. A policy that sort of goes hand in hand with that was that I think he allowed for 100,000 South African immigration visas to be issued, but only to white South Africans, because he believes that they're being persecuted and killed by the black African majority. So that's happening. That's actually a thing that he's doing. And on top of that, in the Sudan, where the intervention would be meaningful, it's not happening. But a city was taken, 60,000 people were fleeing, and there seems to be a significant number of casualties on the ground, civilian casualties that are being targeted deliberately by the Arab Muslim invaders of that particular city. Pretty bad stuff, right? So how do you reconcile all that? You can't. You cannot. And I know that most of our listeners are in America, so this is obviously more for you, but it's interesting for everybody. It's critically important for everybody. Donald Trump just came back from his Asia tour. The government is still shut down. People are about to lose their medical assistance. They're about to lose SNAP, which is actually the food assistance, believe it or not. So there's this whole bunch of stuff that's going to happen this week, right? And again, the government is shut down, and the Speaker of the House doesn't want to bring it back. They haven't reached an agreement around Medicare, right? Blaming the Democrats, and the Democrats not wanting to budge because they don't want to, they don't want medical care to be jeopardized, by essentially what the Republicans want to do. So they're saying, no, we're not passing this budget. And they're looking to get rid of the filibuster. They're looking to do a whole bunch of things that were hitherto completely not impossible, but it's just not done. It's just unheard of that these things would be done. But now it looks like that those things may very well be done, right? Including getting rid of the filibuster, which means, of course, if you're in a minority government, then, or in a minority against the majority government, there's nothing you can do to stop the majority government from doing whatever it wants. So that will be very interesting. In fact, all of it is coming to a head. So much so that people are now saying, yes, the third Trump term is almost inevitable. He's building his ballroom, which he has now called his top priority. Not the government shutdown, not peace, nothing like that. It is his ballroom that's the top priority for him. And generally speaking, what's happening in the United States, I look at it, I can't believe it is happening, and I am completely at a loss as to why it is allowed to be happening. I don't know why the American people aren't going, saying, "Hey, this is enough now. I think. Thank you very much. Let's just get back to business and look at the things that are actually important." So, I don't know. This world makes less sense today than it did yesterday, and less sense yesterday than last week. And I think we're on a downhill slide here, Dave. I think we're sliding down into where things make less and less sense as we go along. I don't get it anymore. I really don't understand what's happening.
Well, I look at the same thing when it comes to our momentum into the Great Reset. No one seems to be protesting it, seeing any of the problems with it. I think it's being sold very well, so much to the fact that it's not being rejected. I think only after it's all of that like the cuffs are on, will people realise that they should have done something. Or maybe not. Maybe it's too late to even think that at that point, because of how dangerous that will be. The restrictions that would be put in place. I'm seeing it's the West's problem that this is happening. It's affecting us more than anybody else, and I just don't understand. You just talk to someone about it, and they've got no clue. What do you mean internet censorship? What do you mean, the pursuit? What is this 10th of December thing anyway? It disappoints me greatly that people are not resisting it. But I don't do anything wrong, their argument is. That's right. You think that now. I've been very careful. I've been very careful about how I post what I say. Whether I like something, I use like. I want this as evidence. I use the like to say that I've seen it, not that I like the thing that was posted. If I have a different emotion around what is being presented, because I want to see if I've seen it before, and it's the easiest way for me to tell, and I use that. If it's a joke, then I might add to it, but I might read the comments. But really, other than that, not really at all. Do I post much anymore? I think I've learnt I'm self-policing, and I certainly would not want to be in trouble in the future. I think it's a consideration we all must have.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, right? To this self-censorship. Actually, it's not really self-censorship. It is an awareness of the precarious nature of internet browsing and leaving a trail of history, and how that might be interpreted in the future. Right? Oh, you like this page, Dave? This guy that also liked it is a neo-Nazi. Does that mean you're a neo-Nazi? No, not really. I don't know the other guy that liked this page. It was just a joke. And this continuing assault on free speech and the freedom of expression is what really worries me. This is, of course, affecting Dave and I more than most because of the radio shows that we have and the internet profile as well. So that's a real consideration, a real concern. Having said that, though, at what point, right? At what point do we say enough? And this is sort of where the woke movement continued on, even in places where they think they have, done away with the woke movement, where you can't offend anyone, you can't make fun of anyone, you can't belittle anyone, you can't tell jokes about anything anymore. I mean, I watched movies in the 70s and 80s that you just couldn't make anymore today. You just couldn't make them. Impossible. Completely impossible. Right?
And
why?
And
because of all.
You would feel guilty laughing at it now.
Well,
even though I thoroughly enjoyed them at the time, and still I think they translate very well into this place we're at now. But when people are getting so soft that anything you post today, it could be anything. I could be talking about 20th century telegraph poles, and someone who doesn't have telegraph poles might be offended by it in the future, because we're not getting harder, we're getting softer.
Well, people are. We're not. You and I are not. And to your point, I don't stop myself. I enjoy the movies as much as I did before, and I'll say exactly what I think. And I say exactly how I feel as well, because I'm not buying into all this nonsense. It's complete BS. It's like it's a lobotomy. It's a virtual frontal lobotomy that we're all undergoing right now. We're cutting out the critical thinking parts of your brain, trying to tiptoe around everybody, not offending anyone. I don't care who I offend. I really don't. You don't like the show? That's fine. Don't listen to it. Okay?
Welcome to.
You don't like my opinion? That's okay too.
That's right.
No, I've always been like this. Nothing has changed. 50, 60, 30, 40. Mm-hmm. I actually haven't changed as a person. I'm less angry now, believe it or not. But I'm not going to change my opinion to please anyone. What's the point? Again, if somebody takes offense with what I say, that's fine. But it's my opinion, right? If I've researched something and I give you a factual account of where current knowledge sits, I'll say it. This is what current knowledge has found. This is where science is right now. This is where tech is right now. This is what we think is happening, right? And I'm the first to say, as you know, we don't know a lot. We have the gaps in our knowledge are gigantic. You can drive, star destroyers through. it's
nice
it's
reference,
insane. Right? But it's nonetheless. If you take offense to it, well, okay, turn off the computer or wherever you're listening from. I don't care. Right? Leave a comment. I mean, we had some great comments come through, and I've answered them in fairly significant detail. Dave, I don't know if you saw that, but a person asked about tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
And is it right that Americans are tariffed in the way that they are? And I said, absolutely not. If it hurts the American economy, absolutely. I'm for free trade. I'm a free trader, if you will, right? And absolutely, it's not fair. Absolutely not. But by the same token, look at the facts. What are the facts, right? And so I listed what actually happened in the tariff war that Donald Trump is conducting, and there was no country in the world, or no meaningful country. I mean, I think there was a couple of smaller African nations which had like 10 or 15% tariff on American goods. Everybody else had less than 10%, less than 5%, most of them, and most had none. Australia had no tariffs on American goods, for example, right? It was only when he started applying tariffs based on the trade deficit that we started to get in trouble with tariffs. And I listed it. I didn't get a reply to it, but it was half a page of facts I threw at that person. Right? But yeah, look, I really don't like it when people just make statements and they don't really know what they're talking about. That really bothers me. If someone doesn't know what they're talking about, that really bothers me a lot. Okay, here we go. I found it. This came from Tonya Hughes 5867 5 days ago, but it's okay to have tariffs on America. And I said, of course not, especially if it cripples the American economy. Free trade is a two-way street, but these are the facts. And then, of course, what I do is I give her a rundown of the facts. Right? European Union, okay, the applied tariff was 1.6% across the European Union. Okay? 3.5% for China. 0.85% for Canada. Okay? Only after the Trump administration starts to look at trade deficit, which is a completely unrelated thing. A trade deficit happens when you buy more from someone than they buy from you. It's got nothing to do with tariffs. Okay? In fact, it's a good sign. Why? Because it means that you're rich. You can buy from other countries more than they can buy from you. Good for you. Good for you. Right? Not only that, it's an expression of the global trade system that we've built over the last 50 years, which was driven by America, by the way. America was the main instigator here that wanted to drive this globalization, which they did. So to look at a trade deficit and then somehow derive tariffs from it is completely insane. That's a whole new branch of voodoo economics. It's just makes no sense at all. You know what I mean? It's nonsensical. It's crazy, completely crazy.
If you're not familiar with that, that's Dave, also mentioned in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, that's right. That's what Reagan called voodoo economics. Anyone? Voodoo economics.
Yep.
Yeah. So, look, I look around and I'm thinking, this is just, it's utterly nuts. It really is. Funnily though, I didn't see in any of the mainstream news, not even on page 5 or page 10 in the papers or whatever, on the websites, not on TV, not even on the radio. Nobody mentioned Three-Eye Atlas.
That's right.
Why?
Oh, you don't want to get caught up in that nonsense, right? Maybe it is real. Maybe all of the things that are happening are indeed real. Maybe. If they're not talking about it, then they can say, oh, it wasn't really a story, blah, blah, and they have this plausible deniability. We can't keep up with this thing coming through our solar system, possibly because there's too much noise on it right now and they don't want to get attached to it.
Maybe. And maybe nobody cares. Like, maybe we have gotten to the point of where we just don't care. In fact, it doesn't have any news value. So even if there were a story, right, broadcasting it would just fall on deaf ears. There'd be no interest. Yeah, who cares, right, type of thing. Is he going to hear us? No? Well, then who cares?
That's right.
In fact, right now, my prediction is this. If there were an alien, let's call it an alien extraterrestrial spaceship landing on the Earth officially somewhere, White House lawn or in Red Square in Moscow or Tiananmen Square in China and be at Beijing, whatever. It'll be a news story for probably a week, and then it's just whatever, because we no longer have to. A lot of people no longer have the capacity to focus in on something. And the funny thing is this, right? I had a conversation with my family the other day, and sometimes with my friends, but this was with my family the other day. And I said a few things, and then they go, what's to the effect of, oh yeah, well, who cares? Or and how do you know that? And how do we know this is true? And I said, okay, look. And then they said some other things which made no sense at all. And
if it's not in the mainstream media, I'm just going to help. If it's not in the mainstream media, Mackie, what do I need to know about it?
Yeah, but not only that, but then I decided I can't talk to you anymore, and I told them that I can't. If these are your attitudes, I have nothing to say to you, so I shut up. And they go, because I have no time anymore to waste with people that it's like banging my head on the wall. It's okay. Yeah. I don't care, but don't ask me. Don't ask if you want to have an answer, then listen to it until I'm finished. Right? I'm not going to volunteer anything anymore. But if you ask me, then listen to the bitter end. But just so I'm giving that warning to anyone out there in the world. You do ask me a question, I will answer it.
He will.
Okay. But you have to stick around until I get to the end. And then uninformed people have uninformed positions.
That's right.
It's like, why is blah 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 blah? No, this is plainly wrong. This is incorrect. I no longer have the energy.
I get as frustrated as you, Mackie, because all you hear in reply is inherited opinion. That's all you hear. Yeah. You hear an inherited opinion, and you say, well, how did you come to that conclusion? And then they go, oh, why are you asking me questions about it? Yeah, hang on a minute. You can't defend something with, why ask me a question? All I said was kindly, could you tell me how you came to that conclusion? And they can't, because they didn't.
No.
Their brain is defending it like they've been hypnotized, Mackie.
Yes. That's exactly right.
And it's so easily spottable. The detection should not take any effort from you to detect when someone is running purely on its instinct. They've been programmed for it to be an automatic reply, and they can't back it up. There's nothing. They don't even know how they came to that. And it's everyone knows that. No, they don't. So you seem to be the only person. And I keep thinking, this is how they're getting nudged. People are getting nudged. They don't know how or why. They don't intentionally understand the topic to any depth at all. and it is, I gave some examples. You're shown an image with an emotional reaction. The story's lame. And then you get a story that has some indicators from the original image, but they don't show the image. And now you've got like a base, a stored base now with the story. And then the next time that they reference it, it is only by emotion. So now this is now a structure they've built, and it's non-defendable. So it doesn't matter what topic. They just go, oh, that's the way it is. You're old. You don't understand. Or worse, they start calling you names, and which aren't true. In defense of just trying to bring you down.
But that's when you know that all logic has been exhausted. When you get to ad hominem attacks, oh, you're lazy, unattractive, so and so, which is unfortunately what Donald Trump does. Oh yeah, she's a really low IQ person and she's not very good looking and whatever, right? Okay. What has that to do with the price of butter? Nothing. Nothing. It's the answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It isn't. It's no. Crazy. That's right. It is.
That's what Graham Hancock and he's look. I like him. I like Graham Hancock. I like what he does, and I like that he's got the time to do it. I would love to do what he does. I haven't got the resources, but the point is that he gets a lot of that, and all he's doing is asking questions.
That's right.
He's not saying, well, this is how it is. He's just saying, hey, look at this. This is what I found. Hey, isn't that odd? Isn't that strange? What does anybody else think about this? I mean, look at this. Oh wow, this is really very odd. But no, the curious minds, the inquiring minds don't seem to exist anymore, or few and far between. In the mainstream everything goes against anything that goes against it. It's just that's the default. It's like when I worked at the insurance company. The default position was not to pay a claim, irrespective of what else that might be happening. No, first letter is always a rejection. You'd be surprised how many people never come back for a second letter.
That's right.
But that's what it was. I mean, the insurance company I used to work for.
Who knows? Yeah.
Oh, it's possible. Yeah, it no longer exists. I think it was bought by someone else. I used to work for Legal and General back in the 90s. Umbrella. But yeah, no, that's the standard thing that we get here. First, if it doesn't follow party lines, and this is across all sciences and in fact any endeavor that humans seem to be involved in, we reject it out of hand. If it didn't grow on our dung heap, I don't want to hear about it. So it's I don't know what to say to that anymore. It's really is upsetting, Dave, and frustrating when there's so much knowledge out there that people just not interested in. I mean, look, I post the shorts and I think, oh, this is going to be an interesting short. 0 views.
That's right.
Then I post a short that I thought, okay, well, it's amusing and funny, but probably not many people interested in that. 2,000 views in the first hour. It's just, I can't pick it. I have no idea what people want to see anymore or hear anymore, or what they're interested in. I really don't. It's a complete crapshoot. And you take the dice and just roll them, baby. See what happens. And it's. But I noticed this. I know not much time, but I was on I had a stand in a flea market years ago. I had some good stuff, books, clothes as well, pretty good clothes. This was a university neighborhood, so I thought students would buy, useful items. I had a lot of useful items. I had a gorilla suit as well, full gorilla suit, pretty cool. What I noticed that day at the markets when I had to stand, there were 2 things people bought. Right, the 2 stands that made money were number 1, food. And number 2, costume jewelry. Those were the 2 businesses that made the most money in that flea market. Okay, food I understand. I get food, sure. You're going to eat, drink, etc. I get it. But costume jewelry, handmade, sure enough, and all that. But that was the biggest seller that I observed. I did sell my gorilla suit though, so hurrah for me.
Well, I'm going to guess that the bumpers aren't playing because of the time difference, the time change. So we'll cease this stream and we'll come back. We are going to come back. We're going to come back for the second hour where we're talking about the hypothesis. And in the meantime, take the time to donate a little toilet break maybe, and we'll catch you